What up, nerds? Welcome to another non-spoiler review here on the Nerdy Narrative. For those of you who are visiting for the first time, my name is Leslie Smith. Welcome, glad to have you. Hope you are interested in hearing about my experience with my latest finished read, a science fiction apocalyptic thriller. It's called Wool by Hugh Howey, and it is the first book in a series called the Silo series. I believe this book originally came out in January of 2012, and you're looking at it going, that's a TV cover. Yes, that's actually how I was introduced to this. Well, okay, no. I had heard about Hugh Howey and this series prior because I participated in a self-published science fiction competition a while back, so it was put on my radar. I just never found time to fit it in. But recently, my husband was recommended the show by one of his friends, sat down and watched a few episodes. We both really enjoyed the show, loved a lot of the actors that were in it, and I just had a day where I was doing something, and whatever it was, it didn't require my brain so much, so I was like, man, I need a good audiobook. And I was like, let me try Wool. So I got on my phone, I was looking to see if my library had it available. They didn't, but it was available on Hoopla. It's narrated by Edoardo Bellerini. I have listened to things by this narrator before, really enjoyed it, so I was like, okay, this is a great sign. I'm gonna have a good time with this book. The first little bit of the book matches up with the Netflix adaptation pretty well. There were a few things that were different. Some of the things the show kept a secret to be a little more intriguing, so I understood why they did that. And some of the different plot lines in the books that belong to multiple characters, the show would combine into one character. I was like, okay, I get it. No big deal. That makes perfect sense to me. As I continued in the book began just leaving the show behind, and it just got better and better and better. And I wasn't even halfway through the book, and I told my husband, I was like, I have no interest in watching any more of the show with you. I don't believe they're going to be able to bring it so that they end on the same trajectory, and I love what the book is doing so much more than what the show has done. So I have quit the show, and I really should have waited till I finished at least season 1 before I listened to this book, because I just ruined it for myself. And I know this about myself. I have said this in so many videos in the past. When I've read the book, I almost always hate the adaptation. There are very few situations where that's untrue. So let's get it back to Wool by Hugh Howey. It's the story of mankind clawing for survival. You don't know what has happened to the outside world. Even those people, what's left of humanity that live in this single silo underground, they have no idea what happened to the outside world because it happened hundreds of years before they were born. But whatever it was that happened was toxic. Even the view that they have of it, what they can see through this one screen on one of the floors, is limited. But talk about it is absolutely forbidden. And so this first book in this series takes us into this silo and tells us about how its inner workings, how it's run, how efficient it is, or it isn't. I'm sure a lot of you can let your imaginations take over from here. There are some of you who are probably thinking, I would go absolutely mad if I had to live underground in a silo with thousands of other people. Like, how would that work? I couldn't do it. I mean, I've always jokingly said that my personality was solar powered. If I go too many days without sun, I am depressed. I'm just not a happy person. But there's also others of you out there going, you know what? I bet this could work this way. You have that hope, that optimism. And you might be thinking, you know what? Optimism, that's exactly what you would need in that situation. No, it's not. That optimism carries a death sentence. The worst punishment this civilization in this silo has is that you are sent outside to clean the view screen. And oh my goodness, I am not going to be able to do a good job describing what that's like. Hugh Howey does amazing. I had a fantastic time with this book. Once I started it and got through the initial part that I had watched the show of and just started seeing the differences and how much better the book was, I couldn't put it down. I rated this one on my call pile system an 8 out of 10, which translates into a 4 out of 5 star rating on Goodreads. My top favorite things about the book, I would have to say, are the setting and the intrigue. I loved the mystery surrounding how it was that humanity ended up being in this silo and what it could mean for a large amount of people to try to coexist. Oh man, I'm remembering all of these reveals in my mind while I'm talking to y'all, and it was so good. But the author did an amazing job with the intrigue and the mystery around it all. Just the perfect timing he had with his reveals of some of this mystery. I was just top notch. I love the creative way that this silo operated, how people did the different jobs, how the different sections had names. I loved the characters, and he gave me a character that I loved to hate. But then as the story progressed, I sort of understood why this character was in the position that they were in. I still didn't really like him. And I didn't want to like them. I thought the author, I was like, oh my gosh, are you about to redeem this person? Who am I not gonna like then? The only drawback I would say the book had is some of the logic. There were a lot of holes that weren't explained, but I think they're going to get explained as the series continues. So it kind of made me go, I'm left with a lot of questions, but it kind of also works in the author's favor because I want to keep reading the series because I want those answers. So I'm hoping to get those answers. Either way, I still want to know more of this mystery surrounding how they got in this silo and what is really going on in the outside world. I want to know what happened out there. And if I had to ding something else, I would say, well, the plot's not that unique. I mean, it's post-apocalyptic. There's only so many things you could have happen to the world to get humanity in a post-apocalyptic setting. So while it does have some similarities with like Fallout, if you've played that video game or you've watched the show, how it operated on the inside was a little bit different, a little bit more delineated. Like they still had a class system in this silo, which I thought was really interesting considering. And I can't say more than that because it would be a spoiler, and I'm not going to do that because if you haven't read the book, I think if you love science fiction, especially if you love post-apocalyptic settings, you love that good mystery of how the world got to where it is in this book, and you really want to know what's the plan? Like, where's the future? Like, what's that gonna hold for these people? I think you'd really enjoy this book. I know I did, and I will absolutely be continuing the series. Now, I have heard a lot of people say they did not enjoy the rest of the books in the series, that the first book was the best book. So if you're someone who has read the series or you've read further, I would love to know what your opinion is. If you'll drop down in the comments, let me know that you continued the series and if you agree or disagree about whether or not the other two books are worth reading. At any rate, I am planning to continue because even if they're not good, I've got to have my questions answered. But that's what I thought about Wool by Hugh Howey. Again, that is the first book in the Silo series by this author. Thought the writing was excellent. I couldn't put it down once I got started. It did a great job keeping me interested and entertained. I was kept guessing. It was crazy how I would get reveals and answers, but that would only make my curiosity grow about what was going to happen. And I love books like that. I love authors who can do that in a story for me. So that is going to wrap it up. Those are my non-spoiler thoughts and opinions about this one. I think if you are like me and you love post-apocalyptic settings, you'll have a great time with this one too. And I would recommend the audiobook. That's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one.